physical phenomenon. You've probably heard, and I'm sure you've read about this, Jeff, that there's a lot of talk which seems to show that it is plausible that the HAARP project, the High Frequency Active Auroral Project, research project based in Alaska, has the capability not of creating earthquakes anywhere that they want, but definitely of triggering earthquakes in areas that are ready for one. So a lot of talk has been going on, and there's quite a lot of information on the internet.
That is something, Adrian, that I honestly covered on this program 15 years ago. We knew it then. We knew the capability was there. The patents were studied, the Eastland patents and others. The HAARP installation itself can direct energy up and then direct it back down. And to set up a harmonic vibration on any earthquake fault, and these are easily mapped, geologists all over the world report on stresses of faults and so forth. The HAARP project, and there are other HAARP facilities, not called HAARP, but the same kind of thing, around the world, can be used to trigger earthquakes. They don't cause them, they trigger fault slippage. You're 100% correct, and many people listening now tonight already knew this a long, long time ago, but it's great to see it out in the open now more and more. Please go ahead.
Well, you know that Argentina is right next door to Chile, and we were very, very shocked to see the terrible earthquake that occurred on 27th February in southern Chile, in the area of the cities of Concepcion and Constitución, which indicated that, and it names it specifically, that right in the vicinity of the cities of Constitución and Concepcion in southern Chile, it was ripe for an earthquake, because there had not been an earthquake there since 1835, which was actually described by Charles Darwin in his tour of South America, and that the two plates, the Pacific plate and the Andean plate, had actually accumulated around 65 centimeters per year. And if you take that 100 and some odd years all into one, almost 200 years, a full 10-meter displacement had already occurred. So that is a huge displacement.
That's a fascinating thing you suggest, because the city of Concepcion, the entire city, literally moved 10 feet as a result of the earthquake.
Exactly. In other words, you have the movement of the tectonic plates. So what HAARP apparently can do is, having identified, this was perfectly identified, that this is an area which is prone and can be easily, an earthquake can be triggered there. If they can somehow find, which I'm sure that this is possible with present technology, what the resonance frequency of one or both of those tectonic plates are, through HAARP, bouncing very high power frequency radiation from the ionosphere. For those old-timers who are listening to us, you probably remember when we were kids and we used to listen to shortwave. Well, we listen to shortwave in the evening because radio waves can be bounced off the ionosphere, which is about 70, 80 kilometers above the surface of the Earth, bounce back to the Earth, bounce back again to the ionosphere, and you could hear, like I remember when I was a kid in Buenos Aires, I could listen to the BBC or the Voice of America, which was literally halfway around the world and thousands of miles away. Now, that can be triggered, and we're not talking about small radio transmitters, but we are talking about 3.6 million watts into an antenna array with very high gain factors, which means that you're talking about billions of watts of antenna power. Now, that can definitely set off resonation in tectonic plates and can trigger, not arbitrarily create, but can definitely trigger earthquakes in areas that are, shall we say, all ready for them.
It's true, and people don't understand that HAARP may put up X number of 100,000 watts, but by propagation, those multiply geometrically into much larger amounts of energy, and they can bring it back down in a very controlled fashion, apparently.
Well, you know, Jeff, that oil companies have been using this for prospecting underground reserves by using three triangulation transmitters, also extremely low-frequency transmitters, and they can literally map where the oil reserves are in any part of the world, but they do this using very low power. I've been told that they use only 30, 40, maybe 50 watts of radio power, which is very low, and it's just enough to allow them to see, well, where these oil reserves are, where there's water, where there are other types of minerals, by the way these waves propagate and are reflected and picked up back again by their various very high sensitivity transmitters. Now, if we're talking not about a few dozen watts, so we're talking about millions, well, one can imagine that the result will have a much greater effect.
Indeed. Be right back in just a couple of minutes with Adrian Salbuchi. With Adrian Salbuchi. All right, so we've talked about environmental crises, climatic and geophysical crises as well, and these certainly can be engineered. We know that now. And this probably could be done by, well, technology. It could be on a ship. It could be possibly in satellite configuration. It could be anywhere. They have, what I am told, are HAARP-type projects that can be literally tractor-trailered to a location, set up. They can set the antennas up. All they need is a power source. They can basically set it up and plug it in and do whatever they want. Now, we know electromagnetically that the human mind can be impacted. Disease can be caused and created as well as cured with frequencies. All these things are within the realm and range of HAARP and HAARP-like projects and facilities. It's truly a science fiction world.